Hey guys, this is Eli, and welcome back to another episode of Eli's Kingdom, and I hope everyone's doing pretty fantastic. I'm doing good myself. That's me got back to Scotland now, so I've been in Scotland for a couple of weeks, traveled all the way from Arizona, and it is freezing here. It's like, I mean, it's not actually that cold, it's just in comparison to Arizona, it's freezing. I'm trying to get used to going to bed with cold feet again, so, and it hasn't started raining since I got back. It's been raining non-stop compared to Arizona, when I don't think it rained at all the whole time I was there. So it's kind of a bit of a shock to the system. But it is nice to be back. I'm around my family. I'm back with my dog. So, I'm really happy. Really good to be back. I first wanted to thank you guys for the really good feedback I got in the last episode. It really is worth it when you guys put some good comments on there. To me, that's the most important thing, is that you guys are enjoying these. So, it's not really worth doing unless somebody's getting some enjoyment out of it. So, please do keep it up. Let me know that I'm doing fine. And I really look forward to reading your comments. The second thing I want to say is I apologize for the delay in the episode. I've had nothing but computer problems since I got back. I actually carry my graphics card with me in my suitcase, which is kind of weird. I take it everywhere I go. And I plugged it into my computer here. It's actually a brand new graphics card, and my computer just couldn't handle it. So I had to upgrade the motherboard and the processor just to get it all ready for recording. So it took a little bit longer than planned, but I'm here now, and I'm kind of really excited to get started on making episodes again. So let's get right to it. Where are we? We're back in the storage room, and just between episodes, because I wasn't able to record, I was able to do a little bit of Minecrafting. So I came on and I did some resource gathering. I managed to get myself some iron, and I even managed to get the iron blocks crafted up for building the beacon. So we're good to go now for the beacon. And I've even started to crafting up the hoppers, which we're going to need for this storage system. And I'd actually quite like to get started on this in today's episode, because the storage system is the kind of the room that needs to be done quite early on, so we can have everything all set up for when we're doing other buildings and so on. So this is what I want to do in today's episode. I've started laying down the walls here as well, just to try and figure out how this room's going to look. I've put the carpet down here for kind of mob protection. I've actually gone with the I don't know what you call it. It's when you put the little pit down there and then you lay carpet on top, and what happens is the mobs can't actually see that this is a valid path for them to walk on. So I think they can actually walk through here, but they can't get through this bit here. So it should keep the center kind of mob free, as long as we have good enough lighting in here. So I think that's going to work, and I'm going to replicate that on this side as well. So we'll have a doorway, and then in this area we're going to have the storage silos for the bulk items. So these are things like stone, cobblestone, dirt, basically anything that you're going to fill more than a double chest with. If you haven't seen how these work, they're pretty cool. You have one kind of central chest at the bottom, which you can access from the front, and this is where you pick up all your cobblestones, say, and then once this fills up, then you're going to have all these secondary chests at the back, which basically will start filling up one by one, and then as each one of them fills up, one of these indicator lamps will turn on, which should just let you know how many items are in the system. So from a distance you can have a quick glance to see just how full all your silos are. And then when you take the items out, they obviously start flowing down back into this central chest. So you always get items in this chest to access. Now this is going to be all kind of items are going to be transported into this from our central chest. So we're going to have this chest where we throw all our items in. We're going to have this grand cavern underneath, which is going to have all of the areas to sort things out. So we're going to have to sort out these 8 signs. Not the signs themselves, the items that are going to be in the signs. And then we're going to have to sort out the other things, like the things to be smelted, everything that's going to go into this system. So I think it's going to look really cool. One thing I want to talk about for future plans is I don't just want this to be the only input chest for our system. I kind of like it. I like the idea of having a bunch of input chests kind of scattered around the kingdom. So, for example, I would have one in the jewel spawner area where I can just throw a bunch of items in and they should get transported to here. And in order to do that, I actually want to build a kind of a really cool network of underground sewers. So the sewers are obviously going to be where the items are kind of transported along water streams, but I want to decorate them in a way that's, kind of really dark and eerie greenery, and you will have vines growing off the walls. We'll maybe even have a couple mobs and, you know, little areas where we can kind of venture off to that might have like hidden treasure chests and so on. So I think it's going to look really cool when that's done. And, you know, there'll certainly be other areas around as well where we're going to need more sewers to take our items from. So that's certainly one plan for the future. Another plan which I want to work on fairly soon is I need to get myself an iron farm up and running. And I've been trying to think about how to do this. Now, first of all, I'm not going to bother with any kind of Iron Titan because I'm just one player. I don't need anything that big. I just need something pretty small that can generate a small amount of iron from, you know, it's just a single player needs. So for doing that, I'm just going to do those, I don't even know what you call them, those kind of square-shaped iron farms where you have villagers on all the four sides. Now, in order to sort of design this, what I decided is I'm going to do it underground, and I'm going to design it a bit like a prison. So we're going to go into this underground prison, and we're going to have these kind of cells. And inside the cells, we're going to have the villagers. And the villagers are actually going to be part of the iron farm. So they're basically just going to be hanging out, like stuck in the cell. But they're actually going to be dual purpose because they will be, you know, making the village for the iron farms. And then obviously, like in all games, I've said in the past episodes that things like lighting and sound are very important for me. And sound is one thing I really want to focus on with the prison because we need it to be kind of dark and eerie, but we also need to have, you know, noises down the corridors and things. And I think it's going to sound really good with the iron golems burning because they let out this loud roar when they burn. So we'll have all this noise kind of coming from closed doors that we can't quite see through. And I just have a lot of ideas in my head of how that's going to look. So I'm really excited to get started on that at some point in the near future. But right now, the first thing I want to do is I want to tackle these storage silos. I think at some point very soon I'll break into a third-person time-lapse and we will finish building these. But before I do that, I just want to talk about the style I'm going to do. So basically, I put out a tutorial just the other day of how to design these, and this design here is actually a slight tweak to my normal design. So I've actually pushed these lamps back one block, basically to mirror what I've got in these walls here. I think it's going to have to change the design slightly as well. But I just want to show on camera pretty much what we are going to do for this. So if I just grab a bunch of items, I think I need some hoppers. That's my dog in the background, by the way, if you can hear that. So yeah, what we're going to do is I think we're going to have to actually use two comparators because we need to push this out further, just because we have this pushed out further by one block. Then we need to have a solid block here. The problem, I think we're going to have one problem here with the hoppers because normally the hopper comes out the top here. We're going to have to take it from the side, and that's going to be a problem because we're going to have a circuit as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll take the hopper out here. We have to take it up one, along one. We'll take it back into the center. So this is where it should be normally. And then we have this up there. So I need to make sure that this doesn't get powered at all. And then we also need a circuit here. So this is going to be half slab there. We need a solid block here. And then we can do redstone dust here, here, and here. We also need a block of redstone underneath. Now this is kind of what makes the magic. I think in the tutorial I put this on the other side, but that's actually going to power the hopper, so it has to be here. So what this does is, if I just take out this for now, by placing this block of redstone on the side of the comparator, this is actually giving it a signal of 15, which means that the comparator will only produce an output when the chest is completely full. So when this is full, this activates this circuit, which is going to turn on the lower lamp, and then we're going to repeat this pattern all the way up the system. Now, this is, I was actually really, like, super happy when I discovered this. I don't know if it's been discovered before. It probably has, but I haven't seen this done before. I didn't even know you could put a redstone block next to a comparator, and I know that you can put a signal into the comparator. I did try this with a torch, and placing a torch there doesn't work. You need to have a wire between this. But apparently it works with redstone blocks. So, you know, it was a really good find that, you know, just put a big smile on my face, and I was really happy to get that tutorial out there. It's a wonderful feeling when you kind of discover something for yourself. You know, you don't follow anyone else's tutorials. It's kind of your own design. So I was really happy with that. But yeah, just to continue on this design. So I don't actually want a trap chest. I'm just going to use a regular chest for this. Trap chests are too expensive. I think we're going to take this out to this side, and then we need to put a block underneath. I think this should probably be a half slab just to be on the safe side. And then this is going to be a comparator here. And then a piece of redstone dust here. I might need to move... Yeah, I think I just need to move that lever down so it doesn't power this by accident. And then the same thing again here is in order to power this, we're going to put another block of redstone on the side. And then what's probably really interesting about this build is the next level. If I just put another hopper there, we move up here and we do another line of chests. In order to... This has to be a half slab, so we don't power that hopper. This can be a solid block. So we do another comparator here, another piece of redstone dust here. And then in order to power this, we just need to place a piece of redstone dust on the top of this. And this also produces a signal of 15. So even though it's kind of one block away from the block, we still get the same signal strength. So it should do exactly the same thing. And that's why these redstone blocks were just so fantastic, because they have this dual purpose. They can produce a signal of 15 on 2 levels. And that's why this just works. It works great, because I originally tried this with torches, and it just, obviously torch doesn't work with a comparator, and you can't get the torch to go up one level unless you build a staircase, and it just takes it really wide. But this is just like, I'm honestly so happy with this design, as you can probably tell, so really happy with this. But anyway, you just repeat this pattern all the way until you reach the point of your tallest lamps, and just repeat a comparator for each chest. So let's, I'll stop boring you guys with this, let's break into a third-person time-lapse and get the rest of this rune designed. Okay guys, so that is the silos now all complete. We've built all 8 of them, and I have a confession. I actually don't like it. It wasn't what I was hoping for. I think the lights are too far back, so when we stand kind of in our main storage area, we can't actually see any of the silo lights. I can't tell how full things are. I didn't realize it was going to look like this. In my mind, it was going to look better than it did. I don't know what to do. I could try and take out these pillars. I think there's one too many pillars. This room feels like it's pillar overload. The other thing I could do is I could bring everything forwards by 1 block, which would mean having to redo all the circuitry behind. I really don't know. All I know is that something needs to change. I think it's definitely the pillars need to change, because there's just one too many. I really don't know. And then I think, does this window feel too small? I'm not too sure, because, I wanted to be able to see that mountain, but from where the window's going to be, like, I'm not going to be able to see too much from back here. Maybe that's fine. Maybe that's not fine. I really don't know. I think I'm going to have to play around a bit more off camera and just see what I can do with this room. This took a long time to do, so if I have to tear this up and bring everything forward one block, that's going to take forever. Oh no. Yeah, let me do this off camera. Progress update, and changes have been made. I think this looks so much better. I'm really glad I took the time to make some changes. I've only done these 2 modules here, so if you just take a look at the right hand side and compare that to the left, it just looks so much better. We can actually see the indicator lights from far away now. I took out the central pillar, and because this came forward 1 block, I've actually pushed it back 1 block just to keep that extra level of depth in there. I might actually change this pillar so this can match this side as well, because it's not very symmetrical right now. And then because this is quite flat, just to give it the extra dimension, I put in these stairs in here just to do that. It does look better with the floor and the ceiling in as well, so that was possibly missed. But yeah, this is just too many pillars. And I did actually change this area here as well, because there's another pillar in the center here that I've taken out, and I've just tried to do something a little bit quirky with the wall. I'm not too sure if I like it or not, but you know, it does have that extra dimension, so I'm going to leave it for now. But yeah, I still think it needs a tiny bit of tweaking and changes, but I'm very happy with it. I'm glad I took the time to make those changes. The one thing that I have kind of the biggest concern with at the moment is what to do with this window, because I kind of wanted this area to be quite kind of small and cozy. But obviously, if we're going to have a window, then that means that we have to push this wall further back in order to make room for having 8 storage silos. So I could potentially keep the 3 here, have 1 on this wall, and then have the window. It might look too small, might look too big, I don't know, but this room's going to go even further back though. I could just do 2 silos here and then do 2 along this side, and I think we'll actually have 4 on the back wall when it's finished, and that keeps everything a bit closer together, so this floor area won't be too large. I can't decide which one I want to do. Do I want a window or don't I want a window? I don't know. I think I'm going to play around with it for a while. I'm actually going to try both, because at the moment I've just designed the front. I've actually had to take out all the circuitry around the back because this whole wall had to get shifted 1 block to the right, so that's all gone, and I think the rest is going to have to go as well. So basically everything we did before was wasted, but you know, this is just what happens. Sometimes you do things and it doesn't quite work out. So yeah, let me play around with this and see what I can come up with. Decisions have been made, and basically what I've decided to do is I do want a window, but I want a larger window than we could possibly fit. But at the same time, I didn't want to make this room really long. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to ditch the granite, I'm going to ditch the diorite. We're just going to stick with 6 silos. We're going to have 3 on this side, 3 on this side. And this is what the right-hand side is going to look like. So this is basically, this pillar here is going to be where our window begins. And it should go all the way to this pillar. So it should be quite a large window. Unfortunately, we're not going to see the whole mountain because the mountain is shifted off to the left. So there's nothing I can do about that. But we should be able to see it pretty much every time when we come in here. We're going to see this view out the window. So I think it's going to look pretty special. And I want to do a really nice kind of stained glass on this window area, because it's, you know, this is going to be a castle theme, so definitely get stained glass windows in castles. At least we do here in Scotland, so I think that's going to look really good. Yeah, I'm going to have to do the circuitry behind as well, but I'll do that off camera because we've already seen that in the last time lapse. So yeah, let's do another progress update in a second. So it is the next day. I apologize if my voice sounds slightly different. I've not long woken up. But as you can see, I stayed up pretty late and I pretty much finished everything. So we've got all 6 silos now in place, and I've done the circuitry behind, so everything should be operational. And as you can see, I've started laying down the frame for where this window's going to be. I think the shape of this looks fantastic. It's got that kind of churchy feel with this kind of pointed top to it. We are going to have a castle look on the outside, so I think it should work with everything. I guess my only concern is that it might be a bit too big, because it is a pretty huge window frame, and you know, it might look a bit silly if the wall doesn't quite fit the size of the window, because obviously if you have a big window you need a very bigger wall. So let's just head over this bridge to the other side and just take a peek from over here, just to kind of gauge the size of everything and how it's going to look on the horizon. I haven't actually seen this yet, so I don't know what it's going to look like. Let's take a peek now. Oh, I think that looks really good. I mean, it is huge. I don't think I'll be able to tell how it looks until we have finished building the full structure on the outside. But I think that looks fantastic. And these silos look amazing. I love being able to see the redstone blocks from back here. But no, I really like that. I think that looks great. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I guess if it does seem too big, I can always shrink it, or I could potentially make the wall bigger. I really don't know. I'm gonna have to just check out and see how that goes. But there's certainly no hurry. It definitely makes the bridge look tiny, though. I regret making that bridge so small. I feel like it needs to be bigger now. I don't know. I've put when I was doing the circuitry, I've pointed the chest outwards now. I don't know why, I just felt like this looks slightly better. And I may end up putting some kind of maintenance hatch here because that does seem to be the best way to get to the back. The one thing which I do want to try now is, obviously I said I want to do a super smelter in this area, and I'm trying to figure out exactly where I can put that. Now there is going to be a space on the floor here, so we could potentially put something there, although that may block the view to the window. We could dig this down a block or two and put it in there, so that's one option. One thing I wanted to try was to see what it might look like if I put it along the top here, so I could theoretically have 2 super smelters, one on either side. And yeah, if I just pillar up here, I just want to test this just to see how this looks. It could look really good, and I do still want to use a minecart where you can have the minecarts basically deposit the items into the super smelter. And it's a really nice system because as the minecart kind of rolls along the top, you see the furnaces light up one by one. So it's really cool to see. So you want to be able to see the front of the furnace. Already I'm seeing that this is maybe 1 block too far back. I want this to be right in the front so we can see them fire up. I do also want to be able to see the minecart as well. I need to actually work out how this works because I think you need a hopper below the furnace. You're going to need a hopper going into the side or the back. Now that's the one that delivers the items, and then you need one on the top which delivers the coal. It may be a bit tricky because if it's delivering the items from behind, we may not be able to see the minecarts. So I'm going to have to play around with this. I think I'll have to pop into a testing world and just try out a few things to see how this is going to look. And I also don't know about the size of this as well, because it may end up sticking out a little bit to the back. We're going to have the roof probably curve up, so we may not get enough room. The other thing I want to talk about is the silos. So in order to deliver the items to the top, we're obviously going to need an item elevator somewhere. Now, there's a couple options behind this. So we have the 6 silos. We could theoretically have 6 item elevators, which means we have the item sorters down below. They sort out the individual items like the netherrack, the sand, and then they get sent up their individual item elevator. The other option is we just have one item elevator that sends everything up, and then we have 6 sorters at the top. Now, I guess the downside with that is we're also going to need 6 sorters at the bottom to know what to send up. And I guess we're also going to need to send up items for the furnace as well. And then we would probably need a water stream that goes all the way around, but we can't have a water stream with this window unless we have the item elevator up here and it goes round in this anti-clockwise direction. I guess the downside with that is the water stream would have to end here, and I would want a continuous circuit just in case some of the items didn't get picked up from the hoppers. The other option is that we just send everything up, and then everything gets kind of sent around here, and then it all gets sent back down. I'm not too sure if I'm happy with that, though, because it will mean there's going to be a delay in our items getting into our sorting system over here. And then I guess if we're throwing items out into water streams and things, it might be a bit risky, because, if I'm throwing things like diamonds, there's always a chance that something gets stuck or lost, and, we end up losing some items. So it can be risky. I'm not too sure. I'll have to kind of sit down and work out how this is going to look. But right now, I just want to park this just for a little bit because I did spend a lot of time doing this, so I want to take a break from it. Right now, I want to move into this section here because, as you saw earlier on in the episode, I have plenty of hoppers now. I did use some of them for the silos, but they don't actually use too many hoppers, so we should have enough left over to do the main storage area here. So for the next couple of minutes, I want to break into a third-person time lapse. I want to get all the item elevators and hopper systems set up for this. We're going to be be following the design by Tango Tech, so I'll put another link to his video in the description. And he also needs, we also need to have it's almost like a little pit down here where we have the circuitry for the hopper timers, I think. So I may actually tweak his design a bit because I have built it once before and it didn't work for me. So I'm gonna have to play around a bit and possibly tweak it. But let's break into a third-person time lapse and let's get started on building this storage system. Okay guys, so that should be all the circuitry complete. I think everything's done except for this kind of area down here where we have to set up the hopper clock timer and get everything ready for the input for the system. I hope I've done everything correctly. It's kind of tricky to do while recording the time-lapse because you need one screen to play Minecraft, you need one screen to record, and then you need a third screen to watch the tutorial. I only have two screens, so I was pretty much having to do the tutorial from memory, so I hope I've done it all correctly. I'm going to have to go around and just double check everything is working. We did seem to get the worst recording conditions possible. We had rain, we had thunderstorms, we had mobs, we had a small flood in here. I don't know how long the flood was there for, but it must have been quite a while because all the carpet had despawned. I had to quickly patch this up with dirt. Fortunately, it didn't take any of the item frames off though. I was expecting the water to just wash these away, but I don't know if maybe it can't reach it or maybe it just doesn't do that. I don't know, but everything seems to be working now. So I think in the next episode we're going to hook up this central chest. We're going to have to build this hopper clock timer down below. I also want to dig out the cavern down here so we can get all the item sorters ready for passing in our items into the storage silos. But that is all I have time for in this episode, unfortunately. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, then please do leave it a like. And if you want to keep up with future episodes or my tutorials, then please do subscribe. I've been Eli. Thanks for watching.